right, welcome to Talkin Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk to you guys about a company called Bitfarms, stock ticker BITF. They are a Bitcoin mining company, and they just put out their Q3 financial statements. If you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button, I really appreciate it. It helps the channel out a lot. Lastly, if you want to become a member, you can join the channel by hitting the join button on YouTube. Members get some member-only content. I just put out a Coinbase video for members only today. In addition to that, we have a once-a-week live stream for members only on Tuesdays after the market closes, so we'd love to see you there. Let's talk about Bitfarms. We're midway through the trading day today. Bitfarms is down about 6%. It's lagging a little bit, so I think people are still processing this information. So I want to try to summarize this, go through their summary as well, and tell you the things that I think are important, and then I'm going to let you know whether I thought this was a good quarter or a bad quarter and where we go from here. So you'll see with today's price action, that leaves Bitcoin's market cap at about 166.9, so $167 million. This is a chart of Bitfarms' market cap over the last few years. You'll see that in November of 2021, so that is now 1 year ago, the market cap peaked at $1.35 billion. That's when all of the Bitcoin miners peaked. That's when Bitcoin hit its all-time high at 69,000. So since then, we're now down very close to 90% from a market cap standpoint. So I'd like to show this because the stock's down in that 90% area as well, but a lot of times people don't know if that's due to dilution or just an actual decrease in market cap. So this is in fact nearly a 90% decrease in their market cap. All right, with that out of the way, let's get to the press release. Bitfarms reports third quarter 2022 results with positive adjusted EBITDA of $10 million. So from an adjusted EBITDA standpoint, they're making money. From a cash basis standpoint, they're making money. So direct cost of production, $500 lower at $9,400 per Bitcoin. So they're saying quarter over quarter, they reduced their cost per Bitcoin, and that's their energy cost. When they say direct cost, those are their cash costs. That does not include depreciation and other things like that. So they've now lowered their cost by $500, which is a big feat because Q3 included some big difficulty adjustments, making it harder to mine Bitcoin, but they obviously remained extremely efficient and they reduced their cost per coin. So that is something that I like to see. The few things that I look at are the things that they can control. How did they do on their direct costs? How did they do on their overhead costs? And how are they managing their liquidity and their debt? So you'll see as I go through all of these, that is what I focus on. So from a top line standpoint, it doesn't necessarily mean a lot to me. We all know the price of Bitcoin was down substantially. So when we get to the income statement, you're going to see their revenue was lower, but that's just strictly a function of the fact that the price of Bitcoin continues to decrease. Okay, 1,515 Bitcoin mined in Q3. And then they go on to say in October, which is the month after Q3, they mined 486 Bitcoin. We'll get to a chart where I show all of that by month and by quarter. The quarter ended with 4.2 exahash per second, up 17% from June 30th, 2022. So subsequently on their conference call, they mentioned that 4.2 exahash is now 4.4 exahash, and they are on target for their year-end revised goal of 5.0 exahash. So they revised that goal down several times. A lot of that has to do with Argentina, and we will look at that as well. So their all-in cash costs are $14,300. So that means they can pay for all of their direct costs and all of their indirect costs with Bitcoin down in the $14,000 range. Obviously, they're not looking to do that. They want to continue to generate cash flow. Even those $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per coin difference makes a big difference in helping reduce their debt and all those other things. So cash flow positive even after accounting for their overhead as well. Okay, financial highlights for the quarter ended September 30th. Total revenue was $33 million compared to $42 million in Q2, reflecting a lower average Bitcoin price, partially offset by increases in Bitfarms' hash rate. Gross mining profit and gross mining margin were $17 million and 52%, respectively, compared to $27 million and 66% in Q2. Their gross mining profit is now down to 52%. 52% is still a very high gross margin. So the Bitcoin miners at the peak were getting used to numbers like 85% or 90% gross margin, but they don't need that to survive. And you'll see even at Bitcoin at these very low numbers, they still have a 52% gross margin on their Bitcoin that they mine. Operating loss was 98 million. I'm not going to go through that. Again, there's a massive amount of non-cash items that fluctuate from quarter to quarter. So I don't really look at their operating loss. You guys can take a look at that. That's not one of the benchmarks that I use to see how the company is doing. All cash costs put together, they're at 14,300. So as long as Bitcoin is above that, they are generating cash flow. They are cash flow positive. Okay, this goes through their liquidity a little bit. At September 30th, 2022, the company held $36 million in cash and 2,064 Bitcoin valued at approximately $40 million based on the Bitcoin price of approximately $19,400, and that was at September 30th. When the Bitcoin price started to trend lower, we began to deleveraging the balance sheet. Since July 1st, we had paid down $94 million in debt, including fully retiring our highest interest rate facilities. As such, we expect to reduce annualized interest by about $9 million. Okay, so this is another one of the things I was talking about. They've managed to reduce their debt substantially. They're managing to lower their interest expense. And again, that's a cash cost. So that's important that they manage that and keep that low. They have $36 million in cash and another $40 million in Bitcoin. Okay, Q3 financial activity. Sold 2,595 Bitcoin for an aggregate of $56 million. They paid down $15 million of the BTC-backed loan, reducing it to $23 million. This is crucial. They have that $23 million left, and I would like to see that go away. Lowering interest expense by $2 million on an annualized basis and freed up approximately $5 million of required Bitcoin collateral in excess of the loan's principal amount. Paid down equipment-backed term debt of $12 million, reducing interest expense in future periods. Amended the Bitcoin-backed loan. So this is important. They had what was once a $100 million Bitcoin-backed loan. They reduced that to now a $40 million Bitcoin-backed loan. There's only $23 million on that outstanding, but they're required to collateralize that previously at 143% of value. So they're able to reduce that, renegotiate that, and reduce that to 135% of value and keep the same interest rate. So that was a positive development. That expires December 29th. Hopefully they find a way to restructure that or pay that off and put it into more long-term debt. I don't like the fact that they have Bitcoin secured. It leaves a lot of their Bitcoin restricted, and it leaves the potential, if Bitcoin gets down to a certain price, they'll either have to cash in some of their Bitcoin or provide some money to pay the loan down. Okay, and then they raised $13 million of net proceeds through the at-the-market equity program. So that's important. One of the things I've been talking about is that I hope they are judicious with their raising of capital with their at-the-market program. So judicious is actually the exact word that they used on their conference call. They raised $13 million. So that is a small amount. That was about 9 million shares. That represents about 4.5% of their company. So they are using a minimal amount of that. However, I don't want to see them use zero because they are using that to pay down debt, and you can see their cash flow positive on top of that. So they need to continue to move their balance sheet in a healthier and healthier direction so that we can remove whatever doubt remains about their ability to survive this crypto winter. I think the stock price of this company, now well under $1, reflects almost a panic level that there's a chance that they're going out of business. So as I read these, and again, this is not financial advice, but as I look at their balance sheet and their income statement, their liquidity, I do think they're in a stronger position right now than they were a quarter ago, and it continues to improve. They need to continue along that path. The one thing this company needs to avoid is some type of catastrophic reduction in the price of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin were to dip to $10,000 or $8,000 or $5,000 and stay there for a period of time, then that would start to present some challenges for this company. But having said that, if I go to their balance sheet, you'll see their current assets are $102.8 million. Their current liabilities are $82 million. That includes $38 million of the current portion of their long-term debt, most of which is not due in the next 6 months, but it is due in the next 12 months. And then this $23 million credit facility that I'd like to see go away, but that's a total of $82 million. So they still have more current assets than current liabilities. In addition to that, they've drastically reduced their long-term debt. So you'll see long-term debt is now only $16 million. So once they take care of the current portion of the debt and the credit facility, then they're left with very, very little debt. So that is going to mean there's not a lot of principal they have to pay back in debt. Their interest expense will go down drastically. And from a cash situation, they'll be in a much better standpoint. And you can see their total liabilities are only $113.9 million, while their current assets are $102.9 million. So they're only about $10 million short with current assets of paying off all the debt they have everywhere. So I do think that they're in a decent position. Having said that, again, I want to reiterate my one point of concern with this is this credit facility is secured by Bitcoin. So those Bitcoin are actually not in their possession. I don't like that. So I'd like to see them pay this off, get rid of this liability, and eliminate whatever potential risk may sit out there relating to this. So having said that, they have more than enough money to pay this off right now. So one of the main things we'll be looking at from this company is, number one, they need to just keep doing what they're doing. They've worked towards cutting costs. We talked about the fact that they cut their direct costs. We're going to take a look at their overhead. They also cut their overhead costs. So they're spending less money. They're more cash flow positive, even at these very low Bitcoin prices. So if they can weather the storm here as Bitcoin is trading, at its 2-year lows and get through this period, and again, that $36 million in cash will help them get from here to where they need to go. This is Bitfarms' amount of Bitcoin mined per quarter. So you'll see in Q3 of 2022, that's the most they've ever mined, 1,515. That's up from 1,256 and then 962 2 quarters ago. So you'll see on the side, I've just done a quick analysis here. Here's the total number of Bitcoin mined. Here's their direct cost per their income statement. So this is the cost per Bitcoin. So they're saying their costs are $9,400, and that's their direct energy costs. So obviously there's some other miscellaneous direct costs. But still, you'll see over the last 3 periods, in the second quarter, they were at 11,508 per their financial statements. In this quarter, they're at 10,224. So that is an improvement. They are paying less per Bitcoin, even in a more competitive Bitcoin mining environment. So that is an excellent step. Lastly, here's just a quick chart. This is the overhead for the first, second, and third quarter. So this is on a cash basis. This excludes all non-cash items, which really is non-cash compensation. 7.7 million in the first quarter went down to 7.4 million in the second quarter, and that's down to 6.3 million in the third quarter. So they've knocked $1 million out of their overhead as well. So you can see on all the fronts that I'm looking for, Bitfarms is doing the right thing. One of the big problems that they have that we didn't dig into that they did on the conference call, the main reason that they've reduced their exahash target for the end of the year is Argentina. They've invested a lot of money into Argentina. They've taken a big write-down in this corner based on the assets that they have in Argentina. They only have 10 megawatts up and running, so it's a very small percentage of their business right now. They were anticipating that being a much larger percentage of their business. So on the conference call, they were very confident that over the next several quarters, they would be able to get all their machines down there up and running and operating according to plan. However, there's no guarantee of that, and this has been one of their big cost-cutting efforts. They pretty much put the brakes on spending money in Argentina after they built out the first 50 megawatts of their facility. Ultimately, this is a potentially 210 megawatt facility. They've built out 50 megawatts. They're only using 10 megawatts. And we'll see where they go from here. On the conference call, they did stress there are political issues that Argentina is facing, so there's uncertainty there, so we don't know what's going to happen. In the meantime, as Bitcoin is at this low price, I like the fact that they've scaled this back and kind of put this on pause. It allows them to be cash flow positive and get where they're going. So again, I'd like to see them work on their debt, clean up their debt some more, stay cash flow positive. Hopefully we see some increase in the price of Bitcoin, but that's outside of their control. Okay, so really quickly on the 1 week time frame, this is a big picture look. Over the last year, from their November highs in 2021 to where they are right now in the middle of November 2022, this company's down almost 92%. So that is a drastic reduction in their stock price. So this has not gone well for shareholders. I'm going to zoom in and show you some more recent activity. This is Bitfarms on the 1 day time frame. So you're going to see back in August when Bitcoin had a rally up to 25,000, Bitfarms rallied up to $2.33. They are now trading under 80 cents. They long since took out their summer lows, which was about $1.04. They then established a low somewhere around 89 cents. That held for a little while, and now they've taken that out. It looks like they've gotten as low as 68 cents per share. So to me, that does not make a lot of sense. And again, their market cap at that point is down, well under $200 million. Their market cap's down nearly 90%. They are down on the day today. We do have a green candle today, but that's only because they gapped lower at the open. Friday, they were up 22%, so that was a huge up day, but that still leaves them down over 65%. So there is lots and lots of room to the upside, as long as Bitcoin does not crash to unreasonably low numbers. So again, this is not financial advice. I can't tell you guys to buy this stock or not buy this stock, but all in all, I'm very satisfied with this quarterly report. report. I think they answered the questions that I was looking for. They've taken a very conservative approach to slowing down their cash spending and making sure they're cash flow positive, and they maintain their liquidity. So those were the things that I was looking for. Hopefully there was some helpful information in here. That is Bitfarms Q3 results. So if you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. And again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.